Hello, TJ here with the producer team, and hello, editing team. I'm here to do a quick review of the teasers that Patrick did, also to give a few quick updates um, for the whole team here. As I mentioned, I'm on the producers team. I'm actually now the executive producer, which just means I'm the team leader for the producers team now. And if you don't know, we organize the projects, we track them, we make sure everything gets done, and we do a lot of the go-between talking between the teams and make sure everyone has what they need. But our ultimate goal is to guarantee everything we start, we finish, and everything is professional. So let's get right into it. First of all, if you haven't seen the latest update for TFN, it is in the lobby. Go into Discord, either on your phone or on your computer, and go to the lobby channel. And the quarter one kind of midterm updates are here for Q1, and that's the spring quarter. Quarter one ends in spring. It's we have 4 quarters through the year, and the first quarter is January, February, and then March. And so, pardon the computer in the background. So in March, the quarter one will be over, but we have some midterm updates here. And the next thing will be the summer, which is May, June, July, fall, and so on and so forth. But anyways, you can see there's pretty much most of the teams are mentioned here. Editing team has a quick little update. It's saying that editing team has finished 2 of 3 of our short films and is handling the influx of improv content pretty well. So we've got 3 short films that we're working on, or that we've been doing in Q1, and we finished 2 out of 3, 2 which we can put on YouTube or on one of our channels for release. And there's a third one that we need to work on to get to completion so that we can finish it. So we've been doing a good job there. And it's also saying the improv content is the stuff that the acting team has been working on. So basically every time the acting practice, they have a part of the practice where it's a practice shoot where we have the cameras, we have everything there. The camera team is there to film the performances and stuff. But it's in a classroom, so it's kind of like it's just practice. We've been editing those well.
Agreed.
And they've been doing a good job with improv, so we're taking it out of the classroom for them, and we're testing their format in the field, like at locations and stuff, to see how well it's doing. We like improv because it comes back quickly. It doesn't take time to write, and it's fun for the actors because they're kind of getting to play, and they have a little creative investment in what they're doing, and then we get a lot of content fast. So that's why we're really investing a lot in improv right now. But you can look at the stuff that they've been doing here in the lobby, but also like we have our own access to everything. It's in the team channel. But let me get to the team channel. And of course, if you look at the description for the channel for the editing team, a bunch of the links and resources are here, including like all the footage goes into Editors Exchange, and then so if you have Resilio, get Resilio. Number one, everyone has to have it in order to edit. But get Resilio, plug this in, and you'll have all the new footage as it comes in. And then also all the stuff that we share between ourselves as a Google album. So including this editing video that I'm making right now, you can add it to this album here, and we all have access to it via the link right there. And you can get it on your phone. It's easy to do. So please get that. Check it out. Ask any questions that you need. If you have anything that you guys need, ask me or ask any of the producers team, and we'll make sure that you get it, that your team is taken care of and everything. You don't have a team leader right now, so just keep doing what you've been doing, just kind of working independently on whatever projects that you have time to work on. So right now, I'm going to go over the teasers because that's all the new stuff that we have. So we had 2 new teasers from Patrick, and so I'm going to do the review on those new versions. What we did last time was 3.2 and 4.2. So we had 2 teasers. So I'll get into that. First, I want to say thank you to Patrick for staying engaged, keeping the content coming. He's doing a great job. I hope everyone follows Patrick's example and starts to work on something. If you don't know what to work on, either message me or post, and I will respond, or one of the other folks will respond, let you know what you can do. But we do have, if you scroll up, an earlier post shows that we have good friends, and we were looking for, let me see here, color correction. So it was kind of showing that we wanted some color correction. We didn't get a response from Alejandro. So Alejandro, if you can do some color correction, let us know, let me know, and you can do that. I'll make sure you have the resource to get the footage and everything. It's in the link that I showed you for the channel. But I can show you how if you need to. If anyone else wants to do color correction, we don't care who does it. We just have a list of things that need to get done. And if it doesn't get done, it means I got to do it, or somebody else. So anyway, let's get to the teasers. Thanks so much for waiting. Let's see here. So let's go to the folder. So everyone should have Resilio Sync. It's a free file sharing program. It comes on your desktop. You can get it on your phone too, but we deal with footage, so you're not going to be able to store that much footage on your phone. But once you have Resilio Sync, one of the first folders that you get is the TFN editors team exchange. So this is just like general folder, and everyone inside is sharing their stuff that they've been working on, and we can easily all access it. And on the root of this folder, other than the individual editors, you have the releases, the most up-to-date releases for whatever can be taken by you guys and edited. So we have Butterfly, the latest release being February the 11th. And we have Good Friends, the latest release being January the 29th. If you ever see two versions of the same thing, go by the latest one, and have in your mind that has all the latest changes, updates, and all that good stuff. All right, so Patrick, going into Patrick's folder, and I can just look at the date here and just go all the way to what's the latest thing that he's put in here, and I see that 5.0 and 5.1 are the two latest things. Now, a quick note on the naming, because this has been an issue many times in the past, which is why we have to make sure that we are consistent with not confusing ourselves with how many versions there are. How many versions should there be? Basically, so if you decide that you're doing 3 teasers, there should be a version, there should be a number for each one of those teasers. You have teaser 1, teaser 2, teaser 3. If you update teaser 2, the new version of teaser 2 should say not teaser 2, it should say 2.1. And if you update it again, it should say 2.2 and 2.3, 2.4, 2.5, and so on and so forth. If you're updating the first teaser 1, and let's say you do 2 versions of that, you go from 1 to 1.1 to 1.2. Okay, and you may be over here on number 2 all the way up to, on teaser 2, you may be all the way up to version 9, which is 2.9. But on teaser 1, you may be up to maybe just 2-3 versions, so which would be 1.3 if you have 3 versions of it. Okay, this is how we keep them separate, and so we know which teaser that we're talking about. But we have a little confusion here because Patrick's been working on basically 2 teasers, which means there should only really be a 1, a 2, and then the point part, the second part should be whatever version that we're on. So maybe if he's on version 8 or something, 1.8 should be the number. Or on the second teaser, he's on version 5 or something, 2.5 should be the number. But what we've had is we're seeing 3s, we're seeing 4s, we're seeing 5s, and it seems that every time that there's a render, we're adding a new number. So like if he was to give me something new after today, it looks like he would make it 6. So that shouldn't be the case. What should be the case is, you should keep track of what version you're on, but I don't know what teaser. So 5, that means there's 5 different teasers here. There shouldn't be 5. So how many teasers are we going to actually publish is the question. And I think right now there are 2 teasers that Patrick's been working on. He's been doing various improvements with the notes that I've been providing. So there should just be 1 and 2. But granted, I have 5. Right now I'm going to keep it as 5. But by the end of this video, I'm going to change it because I've looked at 5 and 5.1. 5 is an update of actually 3.2, which was the last thing that we worked. The last thing that I gave notes on was version 3.2. So teaser 3.2, and then the other one was 4.2. I gave notes on 3.2 and 4.2. Therefore, if you update 3.2, it should turn into 3.3. And if you update 4.2, it should turn into 4.3. So at the end of this, I'm going to switch 5 to 3.3 because that's what it really is. It's really an update of 3.2, so it should go to being 3.3. And then I'm going to turn 5.1. Since it's an update of 4.2, I'm going to rename this 4.3 because that's what it is. So just keep that in mind. That's why I'm going to change the number for you, Patrick. Other than that, I don't like changing the names of people's files and stuff, but we do need to keep the files organized so that we all know how it all works. So we need to keep the same file system in check here. But let's go ahead and look at 5. This is our first teaser. It's going to be, right now it's 5.0, but I'm going to change the name after we're done with the notes here. Let me make sure I have some volume. I'm just going to play it right out of the Windows Explorer window here. And if you don't know how to play something out of the Windows Explorer window here, this window pretty much plays anything that's MP4 format, and this is an MP4 format. So if you don't see this here so that you can just easily play it, what you got to do is right click it, click open with, and you got to tell the computer which program you want it to automatically use to open it. And you want to select Windows Media Player, because if you do that, it enables it to play in the window. Pardon me. Even though you can have it open its own separate window. If you select Windows Media Player for MP4s, it'll let you watch it right here. So I'm just going to watch it right here.
I've come from a distant place to be here.
Why the fuck are you here?
I traveled 12 years into the future.
Okay, I'm going to play it one more time and just bigger so I can see it a little bit better.
I've come from a distant place to be here.
Sorry. From the beginning.
From a distant place.
Sorry, from the beginning one more time. I'll play it from the big window, and then I'm going to go out for notes.
I've come from a distant place to be here.
Why the fuck are you here?
I traveled 12 years into the future. I've come from a distant.
Okay, come from a distant place many times now. Okay, so let's get into it. Okay, so I'm gonna put it on mute real quick. I know how to do that. Here we go. All right, so first of all, let's look at the cuts. Let's look at how the clips are arranged in the teaser. Let's critique that, and then let's move on to sound effects. Let's do titles and color. All right, so we start with we're opening with the portal and the Do You Believe in Time Travel text overlay, titles overlay. We then go to, this looks like an establishing shot.
You have 100% of backup left.
Thank you. We got our double clock, double wristwatch shot. We have Lacey, played by Robin German. Joe. Go back to the portal. Suitcase. So actor's name credit shot. Actor name credit shot. I believe those are improvements from how it looked last time. And then we end with the title shot or title credit. Just a title against a black background. So let's start from the very, very beginning. So first of all, I think the compactness of this whole thing is good. It fits in under 30 seconds. Generally, I think that's pretty darn good for a trailer. And it feels shorter than that because before it's like it takes 5 seconds to get started and then 5 seconds to end. So it feels like it's really 20 seconds. So I like the compactness of it. So that's pretty good. Now, the establishing shot, which is not this is okay. This is a portal shot. This is what we added within the last couple versions is an establishing shot, like a wide shot of a city or aerial shot. Now, this is where an establishing shot should be, but there is a problem with this being an out of focus or blurry shot. It's saying when you have something out of focus, it's saying don't look at it. So because there's nothing else to look at, it's like, well, something's supposed to be here, but aren't I supposed to see it? So I think the blurriness of this shot is a real problem. I would just replace this with a shot that is in focus, like this looks like it would have been a good shot of some city, some skyline, some lights. That's fine. It just kind of shows you our setting where we're in the city somewhere, and then you go into where you are. But this here is just not working because it's out of focus. Now, what would make an out of focus establishing shot work is what you did in the shot right before it, where you have a tunnel, but you have the words on top here. Imagine that you have the city, which is out of focus, and the words on top here. What that is saying is, yeah, I'm giving you some sense of what world we're in. In other words, we're in a human world. This is a city, but I'm telling you not really to focus on the background and to focus on the foreground because the text is clear. The text is not blurry. The background's blurry, but the foreground is sharp. So if you want to make this kind of shot work, I would put something else in this shot. You have to add either text or something else. And I don't know what else I would personally do other than text. But I actually don't see the issue with keeping the text on the portal and just putting a shot that's actually in focus here. So we're at night. I think the issue last time was it wasn't fully at night, and this movie takes place at night, so you want some consistency there. So here we're at night, but now we have a shot that's just out of focus. So now we just need something at night, which is not out of focus, I guess. And just put it right here in the place where this is. So replace this with the establishing shot that you can see. Or if you want to make this work, you can lose the portal because that's what's going to happen if you move this text. You can put the text on top of the blurry establishing shot. But I would probably opt for just keeping the portal and text as it is and just replacing this with something that you can see. Okay. All right. So next. Okay. So now this shot here.
Why the fuck are you here?
Why the fuck are you here? So here's the issue with this. It really has to do with these two clips together. She's saying,
why?
Robin German, who's playing Lacey, is saying, why the fuck are you here? And her eyeline is directing towards the left side of the screen. Okay?
Why the fuck are you here?
Okay, and we're using that as a hook to kind of get people interested. Like, hey, look at this. We're immediately throwing them into a meaningful piece of dialogue. Why the fuck are you here? And like, well, who's she talking to? And then we answer that shot with this shot.
12 years into the future.
The guy who's saying he traveled 12 years into the future. So we're establishing there's a relationship happening between who she's talking to, which is this guy, and then what this is all about, which is I traveled 10 years, 12 years, or whatever it was into the future. The problem is when you answer that previous shot with this shot, they're both looking in the same direction. So it's a little bit jarring to have two characters who are talking to each other, but looking in the same direction, which would be away from either person.
Why the fuck are you here?
I traveled 12 years into the future.
So how you would fix that is you would just flip one of those shots, or you would just use a different answering shot. I think "Why the fuck are you here" works, but anything else that you catch Mate or Lacey saying facing the other direction that serves the same purpose would work too. So the easiest thing to do would probably just be to see if you can flip one of these shots horizontally. So when you flip it horizontally, it's the same shot. It's just she's going to be looking this way.
Why the fuck are you here?
Sounds the same, just the opposite direction. Now, or you can flip his shot horizontally. That way he's looking the other way. We're not worrying too much about the continuity of the room around them yet, because in a teaser, the audience doesn't really have a sense for what the room is because we haven't shown them the room. But what we do know right off the bat is two people talking to each other are usually supposed to be looking the same way. Okay? So flip one of those and you can fix that. Or use different footage for either one of these two pieces there.
Travel 12 years into the future.
Then we go to our portal. We have a second piece of text here, which is supposed to indicate more about the world that we're in here, or what this movie is about. We go back to this shot here where he's opening a suitcase. She sees something mysterious. She needs to go up to it because she doesn't believe what she's seeing, obviously, or she needs a better look. Then we go to our title credits. Okay. So this, we have Robin, we have him, and then we're gonna hard out, I think. All right, and then we're out. We're out the title. Okay. So as far as cuts, just the establishing shot, the two opposing dialogue shots. They need to be looking at each other, and that's basically it. For this version, everything pretty much works. As far as the cut goes, I have everything I need, or we have everything we need. The only thing is we would just fix the establishing and fix the direction, and then if we want to put it out, we can put it out because it has everything that it needs. It works, in other words. Now, can it be improved further? Sure. There's a lot of things that you can improve about this. But the first objective for the producers is to make sure that we have something that works. And if you want it to look even better, you pretty much can go beyond and do that. But let's go from cuts to, let's talk about sound effects real quick. All right, let's listen to it again from the sound effects point of view and music point of view. Let's see what we hear.
I've come from a distant place to be here.
Why the fuck are you here?
I traveled 12 years into the future.
Overall, it sounds pretty okay. Now, so here's the note. So the first sound, which is the portal sound, I put a note that it cuts abruptly to the wristwatch. So if we listen to that portal again, it's the first thing we hear and see.
I've come from a distant place to be here.
The opening sounds fine. Okay, now listen real closely before this portal disappears and goes to the next shot. Let me see if I can close my window real quick. This is the speaker to the microphone, so it's not exactly what I hear from the computer, but hopefully you can hear it.
Come from a distant place to be here. To be here.
So actually, I made a little mistake. It's not from the portal to the wristwatch because the portal goes directly to establishing shot. It's from the portal to the establishing shot, I believe.
Place to be here.
All right. So the issue is there's the sound effect of the portal, and then as soon as it cuts out, because it's not a fade transition, it's just a cut, the sound goes right with it. It's a little bit abrupt.
To be here.
So what you want to do, I believe, is the best thing is to use a fade from the portal to the establishing shot. I would fade that. Let me first switch the note here. The establishing shot. So, of course, if you're in Premiere, which every one of us should have Premiere, if you don't have Premiere, let me know. Let one of the producers know. We'll let you know how you can get a copy. So there is there are 3 different ways to fade that sound in Premiere. You can either use the gain thing where it looks like a high cut or low cut filter symbol. You can use the constant power, which is normally what you use to go from one sound to another sound. Gain usually is coming from no sound to sound, and then exponential fade is usually going from sound to no sound. So you can use any one of those to make it work, but what I think would work best is probably either constant power or the gain sound or whatever it is. But you need to go smoothly into this establishing shot.
From a distant place to be here.
And probably fade into that too. It's probably a good practice to fade your sounds, the sounds of your clips, into the other clips. It's usually good practice just because abrupt changes are more noticeable when there's other things happening with those changes. So if the clip changes and the sound of the clip changes abruptly too, it just makes it blaringly obvious that the audio just doesn't really, it's not at the same level. You have one clip louder than the other, and then because that's noticeable, it's distracting. Because why do we want viewers to notice that the clips sound have a different level of no sound? If this clip has a perceived level of no sound at, let's say, 3 decibels or something, and this clip has is a louder clip, but we perceive the level of no sound to be at 5 decibels, we may not notice that the floor is where it is until we know that these clips are side by side and we hear this one next to this one. So because it's noticeable, it's distracting. So you got to make it a smooth transition sound wise between these clips, or else it's a distraction, and that we can deal with that. So we should deal with that. So fade that, and then let's see. Oh yeah, let's go to second portal.
Why the fuck are you here?
I traveled 12 years into the future.
All right, second portal thing doesn't have a sound, and I don't know if that's a terrible thing, because maybe having the portal sound come back for the second portal, because it's such a short teaser and you have the portal, you have 2 shots in the portal again, maybe that would feel repetitive. So maybe you tried it that way already, but I would see if it makes sense to have the portal sound or a portal sound in the second portal clip, just like the first one. I would just see if it's not distracting. If it is distracting, meaning if it's noticeable, then leave it out. I don't know what it would look like with it on. So I would just say, for your own edification, try it with it on. See if it's better. If you like it better, then try adding it in. If you think it's fine, then just leave it as is. It's not a problem. It's just, I wonder if it would be better. Okay, let's see here. Another thing is, if you do end up using the portal sound for the second portal shot, see if maybe you can have, like, maybe not the exact same portal sound from the first part. Like, in other words, maybe don't copy and paste the portal sound from number 1 and put it in portal shot number 2, because if it sounds exactly the same, it may be noticeable that it's the exact same shot. What I would say is, if that clip of the portal sound came from a wider thing, if you were, say, to scrub through the rest of the sound and pick out a different section of the portal sound, so that it's the same kind of sound, but it's not the same exact area or clip of the sound as the other thing. You want there to be some variety if you do that. Otherwise, if you feel that if you for a specific reason went with no sound into the portal and you feel it's better, then okay. Because I don't know if the other one is better. So I'm just saying check it out and then see if that's it. So that's all the notes I have for the sound effects. Let's go to titles. Okay, do you believe in time travel? Is the first thing. Okay, so good return to portal. So I think in the last version review that I did, I suggested putting something on the portal because I think the second portal shot didn't have any text on it. So when we came back to the portals, there was no text here, but there was a portal shot. And I think the thing was like, well, why go back to the portal shot? I know we're connecting two different parts of the thing, but there's nothing to go with the portal. So now we have some text to go over with it. So I think that's pretty good. Now that we have text on the portals, I think we should probably change the subject of the text. Here's why. Okay, so the opening credit or the opening text says, do you believe in time travel? It's a very quick way to get to the point when you say something right at the beginning of your teaser trailer. Now, the thing, though, about a teaser trailer is you kind of want to tease as much as you can. That means get people interested without telling them exactly what they're going to get. Now, you want to give them, so when you say time travel, that's not teasing. That's telling them exactly what the story is going to be about, time travel. So I would find a way to tease telling them what it's about without telling them exactly what it's about. So instead of time travel, do you believe in doing things over again? Or do you believe in fixing mistakes from the past or something? You would make a reference to time without revealing that it's specifically time travel. I didn't think about this long enough to figure out what the perfect phrase or anything would be, but I would say the only way to improve the first title would be to make it less direct. So basically, if you were to take time travel out of this, that would take the directness away. It would not give them exactly what this is about, but you can tell them kind of around the edges. This is a movie about time travel without using the words time travel. Like, what if you woke up seeing the same thing happen again and again every day, like Groundhog Day or something like that? So not those words, but something along those lines. So if we can take out time travel and use something else that would make you think it's possibly about time travel, that would be better than just saying time travel. Do you believe in time travel? Because we're not leaving anything for mystery. We're not making them ask any question because we're just giving them an answer. And we want to make them interested when we tease them by posing questions to them. So you have the right format, I think, which is starting with a question, but we're giving away the answer in this question. So I think that we should probably not say the word time travel, and we should say something that has to do with time travel, but you shouldn't be able to tell exactly that it's about time travel just by what you're saying there. The second portal text here, can a past truth hide a future lie? So I kind of feel like that is simply placeholder. So you heard the review last time about just, put some text on top of the second portal. And this is really just there to kind of hold the place for something better, I feel, because it doesn't actually make sense. I don't think that this movie has anything to do with a past truth hiding a future lie. That's not what happens in the film. But this is the perfect time to say something else. So, what should you say? I have no idea, to be honest with you. So I'm not in a position to criticize. Hang on. Hey Google, turn on bedroom lamp 2. Thank you. So I'm not trying to criticize exactly what you're saying. I think we gotta say something else, which pretty much serves the same purpose as the opening, which is get them interested, make them ask a question. And maybe this should relate to the first thing. So if we didn't say Do you believe in time travel, or do you believe in fixing past mistakes? Would be the first thing. And then the second thing, which would relate to the first thing, you would say, like, if you had the chance to do it over, would you? So it would be like furthering the question. You ask one question and then you ask another question upon that question, which furthers it. Yeah, I would love to fix my past mistakes. Would I if I had the chance? Yeah, I would. Or would I if I had to give one thing up? Asking if somebody would make a sacrifice. That's another way you can go at it. There's really no limit. The only thing you don't want to do is say the word time travel, because that is too direct and it gives so much away right off the bat. Say something that's time related, time travel related. And then here it's time related because you said, can a past truth hide a future? You have past and the future, which is, I kind of like the idea of seeing the past and the future in a statement because it tells you about time without exactly telling you about what. So what does it have to do with the time? What are we talking about? The past and the future. We know it's time, but what's the statement about? So I like the idea of having both of those words in there, but I think that we need something relative to the story that doesn't give away it's about time travel, but is about time travel. So something else. And most likely your second text statement thing should probably relate to the first in some way, with them both being different from each other, but being related to each other, or both related to time travel. So I would put something else here. I just don't know what to tell you. Let me see what my notes say. Let's direct. I didn't have anything for the second, I don't think. Robin's title, Pass. Oh, I was in the middle of writing something. I've been rushing through stuff all day. I'm just going to say, consider replacing with a statement or a question more relevant to the story. To what happens. Story. Without being too direct to time travel. Okay. And that's pretty much all I want to say about that. So I'll just put that ahead of the other piece. All right, let's move on. So those are the two pieces of text the first two pieces of text. Now here's the second. The second two are the actors' name titles. So we've been looking at how to improve this slower and slower. All right, so let's see here. So this is better than what happened the first time around. So here that we had the last problem that I was explaining with the two characters looking in the same direction. In the last thing, she was looking towards the same direction as Joe. Here she's looking from left. She's looking to the right. She's on the left side looking towards the right. Then we go to him. The answering shot for him, he's on the right side looking towards the left. So that's how that should work as far as when she's giving that statement, what the fuck are you doing here? And we answer with his shot back to her. But they're looking in the same direction. We should use the same approach where she's facing a different direction as him, and they're facing each other with the two shots that answer each other. So that's what we did accomplish here. So good job, Patrick, on that. Also, I like the placement of the name title here. All right, now here's the problem with this, though. It's the shot's still here, but the name is fading out. I think that name should probably stay there closer to the end of this shot. And it seems minor, but here's the thing, it is noticeable. Now, should it fade away? Yes. But the point that I'm making is it should fade away closer to the end of the shot. In other words, it shouldn't go away while the shot's still there. It should go away right around the same time as the shot cuts. The shot doesn't fade, it just cuts. I'm not saying that the text should just cut. I'm saying it should at least fade closer to the end, or much faster than it's doing now. Or it can cut. I'm not saying don't cut it, but I'm not saying it has to cut. I am saying that it needs to be, the cutaway from the title needs to be closer to the end of this shot, because it's just noticeable that it goes away, and it shouldn't be. There's no point, there's no reason that we should notice that her name is fading away before her shot's over. And then we go to his shot, okay? He comes in, okay. And right now for him, his went away exactly the way that I probably would have done it. Good. So his fades when his shot fades. So basically it didn't cut. He does a fade, but it's gone all the way by the time the shot goes. So it actually went black before the fade finished. And I think that is better and more effective. So I would do the same thing. I would do at least the same thing that you did for Joe's fadeaway for Robin's. So I would do what you did for Joe. I would do it for Robin too. Don't let hers fade away before her shot goes away. Let hers fade away right when the thing is cutting, just like you did for Joe. To make it less noticeable, to make it more consistent, and just a little cleaner. So that's an easy adjustment to make. Okay. And that's all I have to say. And then I guess I can make a couple comments about color. I don't really think it's so unimportant relative to the other things that I mentioned that I don't even want to suggest any changes. But here's the only changes that I would suggest. When you look at this teaser from start to finish, what do you see? Starting to see this kind of yellow. Got this more yellow. It's all in a hotel room. That's why the colors are the same. We're going back to yellow to hotel room. Have some green in there finally. So that's cool. And here's where the green really looks good. Looks really good. I like that you use this shot because now we're getting some more variety in the color that we're seeing. One thing that we avoid in a lot of respects is repetitiousness. Repetitiousness of the same shot types. Repetitiousness of the same angles. Repetitiousness in a lot of ways. We want to be consistent, but we don't want to be repetitious. In other words, boring, right? So we got to look at it from a color point of view. Are we being consistent with color, or are we being repetitious? Are we being boring? And it's really not anyone's fault that this whole movie is shot in a hotel room, right? Where the color is pretty much consistent all the way around. All the walls are yellow. Most of the walls are yellow, right? You only have a few different types of shots where it's not just yellow wall and then you have the green and stuff. You have this. These are cool. So I would just say, and this is after you fix the other stuff. If you want to go into perfectionist mode or whatever, you can go and look at color. And the thing about color though is it pulls you into this decision making of, should I use this shot or not? Should I use this shot or another shot? Because this shot has more color and it'll be less repetitive throughout the whole thing. But you see, the thing is, when you consider titles, when you consider cuts, you consider the idea of using different shots during those phases too. So it's a huge thing. So I'm actually going to remain bullish on, I'm not going to make any really color recommendations at this time until we fix the other things, because the color thing is going to require the same amount of effort and pressure as the other two things. And I think the other things are more important now. The color is much less important. If we don't change anything about the color before this particular teaser gets done, it wouldn't matter to me. It works. All I'm looking for is something that works. I can look for something that's perfect later. So it's fine. So I'm not going to suggest making any decisions based on color right now, because it's not important to anyone at all until we get the other two things that we want first. Okay? But if you want to be thinking about that, you can go ahead and think about it. Okay, but if we start to prioritize color now instead of fixing the other things, it's completely counterproductive. So really only focus on the other things. Focus on the title, focus on the sound effects, focus on the cut before you even think about color. So no notes at this time. Okay. Okay, let's go to 5.1. Now, as promised, I'm going to take 5.0 and I'm going to make it 3.3 because it really is an improvement from 3.2. Okay, so I'm going to take 5.0, I'm going to make it 3.3. Also, you know what else I'm going to do? I'm going to make sure we're using the same thing. Color. We should be saying teaser. Okay. Let's. But then I gotta go and change them all, man. I don't like going in and messing with people's file names and stuff. So I'm just gonna take this. I think the names are important to get right on the first go round. You know, never call it a teaser a trailer, never call it trailer a teaser because they're two different things and they're meant to make you think about them in a certain way. We're doing teasers here, so I think they should be called teasers. But I'm going to leave it as promo right now because as soon as I click this, it's going to go in the right place. It's going to go right after 3 point whatever. Okay, 3.3. Okay. So I did change 5.0 to 3.3. Now I'm going to watch 5.1, and that's going to become. Oops, hold on. Might have made a mistake there. No, I didn't. 5.1 is going to become 4.3. All right, so let's watch 5.1 in big screen, and then let's talk about it. Where's my volume?
I know it.
Here we go.
10 years. This March. Did you know that?
I know it must have been difficult at times to get over what happened.
I didn't know that you were drinking, but now it explains a lot.
The night before you turned 15, I attempted an experiment. I went 12 years into the future, which is where you had the accident.
You can't do this, okay? You have no right.
We're not going to get another chance.
Yeah, let's talk about the cuts. Hang on, let me close this real quick. Okay, make sure my thing isn't overloading down there. All right, so first note here. So we're doing it. We're starting with it. We're opening with an establishing shot, which is good. That's what I suggested last time, is open with an establishing shot. Now here's the problem with this establishing shot. I can't see anything, and I'm not sure. I don't think it's my monitor. Let me move it to my other one real quick. Yeah, I'm looking on that one. It's too dark. Okay, so first of all, my opinion is that the establishing shot here hang on one second, make sure I'm looking at the right notes. Nope, those are not the right notes. There we go.
10 years.
Okay, so the establishing shot, number one, is too dark. It's too dark. Can't really see what's going on, but I can see enough to know that it's probably the wrong establishing shot anyway. So number one is really dark. Number two, it's focused very narrowly on just the interstate somewhere. Okay? Now, why would it be a problem that the establishing shot would be the interstate? It's so narrow that it's misleading. This is not a story about traveling anywhere particularly, because this whole movie takes place in a hotel room. You could say the symbolism of traveling through time, that there's that, and then, she hasn't met him in a long time, so she's traveling to go and see him. But it doesn't seem to fit right. I don't think that this fits. I think we're stretching to really make that fit, if that's the reasoning behind this. So I would say go wider, go broader with the subject of this establishing shot. I don't think it should be focused on just some highway or some interstate somewhere at night at a real dark time where it's hard to see what else is going on. I would go broader so we see cities. So cities, you can't really see the details of those. You just know a bunch of people live in a city. You can see the lights from the building. You can't really see what else. So there's an argument that cities are really dark too. Here, I think this is just too dark and too narrow. If you're going to go dark and hard to see, make it a city because at least you know why it's dark and what you're looking at. Here, it's going to be like, well, why didn't they brighten this up? At a city, it's so far away, you're not going to be expecting to see the faces of people all the way down on the streets or something like that. So I would say let's consider this as placeholder for some better establishing shot. So in other words, we need a subject which is broader and wider, like a city. Nighttime, again, we went nighttime here, which is great. Nighttime is what it should be. It's just now the subject is so narrow, and I don't think it works. I think we got to go with the city, or something broader. It doesn't even have to be the city. We need a broader subject. All right, let's go to the next part, or let me see what else.
"10 years. This March. Did you know that?
I know it must have been difficult at times to get over what happened.
I didn't know that you were drinking, but now it explains a lot."
All right. So here's the second thing about this. This is the teaser where it feels like we're combining two different teasers into one. But what's really happening, or what I believe is happening here, is Patrick is trying to fuse two different types of energy. So we open with a kind of sad, melodic, or nostalgic energy with this music playing, right? And we hear voiceover. 10 years since I seen you. It's voiceover. And then he's talking. You can't see them. This is just all off-screen voiceovers.
"This March. Did you know that?
I know it.
This is happening in their heads, right?
Must have been difficult at times to get over what happened.
So
I didn't know that you were drinking, but
there's this sad vibe happening, right?
now it explains a lot."
And then what he's doing is he's gonna fuse the energies. He's gonna bridge, because the second half of this sounds different. It's got different music and everything. Which kudos to you for trying that music. I think it's perfectly fine to go out on limbs and experiment. So taking the risk was great. Now, last time this was completely dark with no sound at all. So I suggested that he adds something like think about when you see a horror movie trailer, right? And you have what they do is they do this thing too, where they build up energy and then they change it on you. And one of the ways that the techniques that they use to change it is they cut to a dark screen. So maybe a woman's walking towards her door at night, and it's a scary movie, and you see some guys behind her, and she notices somebody's behind her too, but she doesn't really look, but she just starts walking faster. And then when she gets up to her door, she starts digging for her keys, but she can't get them. And then the guy starts walking faster to come up and get her. And then she's trying to open the door. And what happens is right as she's sticking the key in the door, it cuts to black. And then you don't see anything, but you hear something. They make you hear breathing. Or it's one of those things where the guy's running from something and he hides in a closet and you can't see anything, or maybe you just see through the keyhole his eye, and he's looking around all crazy eyed. He's wondering, did they see me? Are they going to get me? And it's like they're changing it to tension, right? And then they boom, jump cut. Then you can see, it starts cutting in and out of darkness where it's like showing you different stuff. But what they're doing there is attempting to take control of the energy. They build up to something. They take control so that they can change it. What's happening here is he's going to go into this kind of Stranger Things kind of vibe almost. And then, he's using this sound in the middle to kind of merge the two, kind of just like I suggested. But we got some issues here. Okay, so here's the issue. So what you did was you took the water sound from the movie, from the opening of the movie, where you don't see anything, you hear the drums, and then you hear the water, and then what happens is Zay pops onto the screen. have it right here, actually. Let me go to the latest one. So here's the movie. This is how it opens. Now the water's already coming in. It's just coming in real low and subtle, and then it's rising slowly. Austin is the editor for the big version of it. So the whole movie thing, he's editing that part. We're editing the little part, but he knows that when you're bringing in, you're building up the energy. He knows to be subtle about how he's doing that, because he's going to be smooth until you get to the point where you want to cut it for some reason. For him, the technique is to build it up and then cut it. And he knows you can't have it completely dark, so he's showing you a little bit of light from water, so the visual matches the sound a little bit. And then the guy opens the door. All right, so that's how the movie opens. So what Patrick did was he took the sound from there and used it so that the black middle part isn't silent, because it's weird if it's just silent. Now here's the problem. It cuts abruptly and there's still black. And it's like, what's the deal with that? Hang on. Jeez, okay. So what you got to do is make that sound stretch all the way to the end of the darkness, and you got to make it smooth. The whole purpose of this middle intermission part is to connect two different energies. The only way that that's going to work successfully, and this is very difficult to do, by the way, is if you do it very smoothly, almost so subtly like the audience doesn't know, but we kind of know. We're basically just giving them something to listen to while they wait for the change in energy. So this is very difficult, and really and truly the easiest thing to do would just be to split this thing into two different promos, because what you're attempting to do, I don't think I would even attempt to do it, because not that you can't do it. It's just it takes a lot of time and energy to get it right, and then you may not even end up going with that in the last place anyway. So, but if you're going to go this road, what you have to do is make this a smoother transition, right? So just talking just about sound, make that sound stretch, make it fade into the black, make it fade into the next thing that you see too. Don't let it have a period of silence, because it's so distracting. It's like, why is there nothing and I'm hearing silence? You know what I mean? Not hearing breathing, I'm just hearing water. And then there's no visual to go with the water. One thing Austin did is he had some visual to go with the water. He just made the water look really, really, really dark. So you could only tell that it was water, but you can't tell what kind of water. If it's ocean water, bath water, you can't really tell what kind of water it is yet. So do that.
The night before you turn 15.
Now, I'm not going to really comment too much about the music.
I attempted an experiment.
Because ultimately what I would do is probably ask Austin if he thinks this is good music or not.
So I went 12 years.
And that can be that can turn into a thing where it's an opinion, where he likes a certain type of music or a certain type of song versus somebody else disliking or liking a certain kind of song. And really the only important question is, does it work? And if I have to answer that question,
into the future, just where you had the accident.
You can't do this, okay? You have no right.
I think it works. I don't find it too distracting. I'd probably prefer something a little more modern, but
we get another chance.
It's so hard to do this, because now it's like you're editing two things. There's so many things that I could critique on the second half of this, right? Number one would be there's a little bit of repetitiousness with him, being, having head sickness or whatever it is he's doing, right?
Into the future, just where you had the accident.
You can't do this, okay?
And that wasn't a very smooth audio transition between the clips, because his voice got cut off a little bit. Listen.
this.
or her voice it cuts into her voice a little bit.
Okay?
The accident.
You can't do this, okay?
Yeah, that cut into her voice a little bit. So be careful with that. And you might have done that because maybe there was something on top of her voice that you had to cut out. But if I can notice that her voice is cut a little bit, anyone can. The audience can. So see if you can smooth that out or something. But here's visually.
Hey,
All right, so you have him messing with his head here.
you have no right.
We're not gonna get enough.
Then you go to a completely different shot where he's not sitting down, but he's up, but he's still messing with his head. So that's a little repetitive. I would probably cut one of those two shots. And it might be the one where he's
You have no right.
in the background. It might be, I would probably cut this shot, even though I really like this shot. I would probably cut it because the next shot has her in it, kind of in a similar her facing the camera kind of thing, you know? So, and why I wouldn't want the repetitiousness of going from a shot where she's the super focus of it
Another chance.
to a shot where she's the super focus of another shot. You see what I'm saying? That's a little bit repetitive. So I would cut probably both of those, if not just the one that has her and him in it.
You can't do this, okay? You have no right.
We're not gonna get another chance.
And I feel that you're trying to add something or continue the telling what the kind of relationship is going to be about by adding those two pieces of dialogue. But it just starts to get more complicated the longer this goes. Let's see how long it is, by the way. The other one was 29 seconds. This here is going to be 52 seconds. So nearly twice as long. Yeah, I would cut this in half. I think you do a good enough job in the beginning to just cut so that instead of just cutting to or trying to cut to a different energy, just cut to the title. I would probably just cut to the title. This one, there's really not a lot of pop. Or we start with this.
The night before you turned 15, I attempted an experiment. I went 12 years into the future, which is where you had the accident.
You can't do this, okay? You have no right.
Yeah.
We're not gonna get another chance.
There's just so much hotel in this teaser that there's no way I would let this go on for a minute. It's so long. It's like I'm not saying anything new. In terms of looking at where the setting is, that gets repetitive too. Not just colors or what's happening or the sounds and stuff, but where you are as far as the shots, what's in the background gets repetitive too. So this does not need to be. I'm gonna recommend not going with this approach where you fuse two different energies and then transition in the middle. I think that's so hard to do, and we're not going to really get a huge return on that. It's going to require so much fine tuning and other reviews and other stuff like that I think probably just cut this into is the best thing. You know, pick the side you like the most and just cut it into. I have no issue with the music right now. I really don't. I don't really have a preference personally for what the music is, and really, it's not my job to have a preference. It's more like my job to say, all right, we've met the minimum threshold to publish this. That's really what I care about most is having one good quality and then meeting the minimum threshold to hit a publish. It's not really my job to say, I love this amount of green in there, therefore we should do what I like, or this, isn't really my flavor, this isn't my jam, therefore do something that is. Nobody's getting paid. I don't like doing that. There's no point in doing that. I don't believe in that. So let's just go with, I think the minimum requirements on both halves of this is enough to just go towards a pub. So I would cut this in two, basically is all I'm saying. And I would not try to pursue this fusing thing. What else was there? Well, that's the cut. I will say that I prefer this title part to the other one because it has the blue and the black and the yellow. The other one went just black and yellow, which is they're both workable, but I think probably the blue is better. But I'm not gonna give my opinion on that, because that, for the same reason I was saying before, it's not really about what I like. It's more about quality and minimum requirements. So I would say try to cut this in two. Now let's go to sound effects real quick. First note on sound effects is the middle transition. Oh, needs some fine tuning. Yeah, that's what I already said that. So the middle section needs some fine. Right now, it's hard to cut to black. Right now, the hard cut to black is sudden and is breaking the flow, as opposed to smoothly transitioning to change the mood and pace. So if you continue to go down that route to just see how it would turn out, that's your next step, is to fix that sudden break in the energy. You want to make it a smooth transition. Didn't leave. That's an LY. Then the second thing is the silent part of the 10 years opening dialogue is louder than, really? Let me see here.
"10 years. This March. Did you know that?"
I know it.
All right, so the silent part of the 10 years opening dialogue is louder than the audio of the track before it. Fade into it. So the note here, it's going to be hard to kind of show you this without opening Premiere and looking right at the levels. But what I'm saying here is the noise floor, the 0 point for this shot, is lower than the 0 point of this. The silent part, the part where she's not speaking and you're just seeing stuff, is louder than the part of the clip right before this where nobody's speaking and you're just hearing and seeing stuff. So what you want to do is balance those out or smoothly transition, because the only reason I noticed it is because they're right next to each other. So when the clip changed, the sound of the silence changed too, and that's what was noticeable. If it's noticeable, if something like that is noticeable, it's distracting. So what you want to do is either fade the sound so that it's smooth and you don't notice it, or adjust the levels so that they are the same 0. You want the noise floor to be the same so that there's no heard difference between the two.
10 years.
And that's all I have to say about the sound on this particular thing. Titles. Let's go to titles.
I went 12 years.
So here's the title. So Robin's name credit is not visible against the yellow background. So let's go to Robin's title credit for our second teaser. Here it is. So here, in the other teaser, this wasn't an issue, but here, the yellow is against the wall, and the yellow light here is making it really hard to see her name. So there's two things you can do about it. A, either change this yellow to a different color, and what might make sense is either green or a color in between the yellow and the green here. So, and that's cool because it would kind of match the green that's on here. So you can try the green or some greenish color, and that would work against the wall here. Or keep the yellow and change the shot that you use so that this here would be against something that you can easily see. What was the other thing? Oh, that looks like that's it, because his shot is fine, but on my computer, let me see here, his blacks are really black. So like the darkness here is, I think, too dark. And I don't know if it's you or if that's just a footage. Let me see if that's just a footage. Let me go back and see that movie. Let's go. So it looks like the movie is lighter, noticeably lighter. But You might have been working with the older version, and it might have been darker in the older version. Let me see. A little hard to tell. But look, hey, if you changed it to be darker, that's too dark. There's no need for it to be that dark. There's no need for the vignette. The vignette is too much. So I would just say, take the darkness away, take the vignette away. Oops. Sorry, I'm looking at the other screen there. So I would just say, take the vignette away. Oh, that's not the right one. Yeah, it's probably, I'm going to say that's probably you, Patrick, because the other teaser, it was lighter too. That looks really dark. I like dark, actually, and here's where I'm giving my opinion, because I've been saying from the beginning of this whole project that I prefer a darker telling of this entire thing, because it's supposed to be a noir, and this in noirs you pronounce the shadows more, but it's turned out to be a lighter movie, so there's no reason for the teaser to be noticeably that dark. Now, and even if you wanted to go a little dark for the teaser, it's actually technically a problem when the hair is so dark you can't see the hair. Like I can't. It should be light enough. If you want to ask how much to lighten this, you would lighten this enough to be able to distinguish the detail in his hair. Because it's not serving us to take away his hair. If it's not serving us to take away his hair, it's too dark and we shouldn't be taking away his hair. So I would take off the vignette, because I can kind of see a vignette forming here. And I would brighten the darks or the blacks or the shadows, whatever you might have done, to bring back his hair enough so we can see some detail up in here. So we can see the edge of the frame against his head. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Oh, I guess I should make that note. So if if you darken the footage of the name credit shots, it's too dark. So bring back the detail in Joe and Robin's hair. So that needs to be brighter. Excuse me, I have that scratchy throat. Okay, the rest of it is fine. Like, it can be a little dark on the outside. Let's see here. That's fine. But yeah, split this in two, because there's no point in trying to do the other way. Good idea, though. I mean, good try. It was good taking a risk there. I like the risk taking. I like the risk as far as the music, and I like the risk as far as trying to fuse two different energies together. That's fine, but I don't think it's necessary. And it's going to ask way too much of you and us. There's no point in us even trying to attempt that. And then we got the title. Yeah, so make it short and sweet. I would just cut it down the middle. Go to the titles right after the first part. You may have to extend the first part a tiny bit if you think it's too short. But if you can get something to be like 15, I think the first part might even be close to 15 seconds, which would be great. But yeah, so those are the notes. And what I'm going to do is copy and paste these and put them in the Discord for you. I'm going to put the video in there as well. That's pretty much all I have to say about the new teasers. Oh yeah, let me change this. So I'm gonna change 5.1 to 4.3 because really this is an improved version of 4.2. Okay, and that's what it should be. Make it 4.3. All right, and I'm sorry for changing the name of your file, but we got to keep a purpose. We have to keep things organized, and that's the only thing I'm asking for here. Hey Google, turn on the spotlight.
Sure, turning the spotlight on.
Make sure I can see my driveway. Yeah, that's all I got to say on those two things. Let me know if you have any questions or comments yourself. You can post them in the channel. Let me bring up the thing real quick. And again, thank you to Patrick for all the hard work. For everyone else, if you don't have anything to do and you're wondering what you should be doing, again, you can message me. I'm the EP, I'm the executive producer, or you can message just the producer team if you need something to do, and we can give you something to do because there's no shortage of stuff coming in. We're going to be really focused on the stuff that the actors are getting us, coming on a bi-weekly or monthly basis, and there's going to be we do have still some work to finish on the short films. We're technically all the way through cut and finished on 2 out of 3. There's a third one that I'm actually working on because the only reason that I'm doing it is because it's so complicated, and I have all the knowledge from being a part of the thing when we're doing it, so that way I know where to find everything. It would be a lot of work to try and get someone else to get all the files, know how the things were titled. It was a thing where we learned to do a lot of things the right way by doing them the wrong way. So that's kind of why we insist upon everyone making sure that you are following the rules and the suggestions and the systems that we have in place here. Don't shirk anything. If we say do it a certain way, do it that way. Assume there's a good reason for it because there usually always is. If it was worth writing down, we ran into a huge problem that made us want to write it down in the past. And if you, through the course of editing anything, find out, oh, this is an issue, we should do it a certain way, write it down so that we don't make the same mistakes in the future as well. That's kind of how we learn and get better from each other and through our experience. So, the other thing I want to show you is here's the album that we add stuff to when I make videos for editing or whatever. Anything that for the editing team, we should all be using this album here to quickly share videos with each other. This way, it's just another way because we do have the YouTube playlist, which lets everyone in the editing team add videos and stuff too. But we also have this, which is Google Photos, and it's an album that lets collaborators add things to. So I've been using this, and all you need is the link, which we copy and paste the link here, which is the channel description for the editing team, which means only the editing team can get in the editing team channel and read the description for the channel. Here's the description. So if you wanted to see the editing team sessions and shares, you go here, and then it will let you add them. So if you open it in your browser, you hit this plus sign here, it'll let you add. You can add the album to your own Google Photos library. And that's how it works. Try it and get used to it. And also, of course, if you don't have Resilio Sync, you have to have it to do work on this team. It's Resilio Sync. Here's the link to get the program. It's for desktops mainly, but you can get it on your phone too. We share footage, so I don't know how much space you got on your phone, but a lot of people don't have enough space, and there's really not a lot of editing you can do on your phone anyway. So go there to get to Resilio Sync. Editors Exchange folder is when we get done with editing, we just have our own folders that we share back to Tampa Film Network. They take all our individual folders and put it in one big one so that we can all kind of go into each other's folders on a view-only basis, because I'm able to change the file name, so I have more than a view-only. But you guys have a view-only basis, so that way you can copy each other's files, but you can't take away or edit them. And I think that's appropriate. And then the resources folder is, let me show you what the common resources folder. So if you get the Resilio sync code for the common resource, what we have in there are all these resources for, look here, Cinematic Essentials Volume 2, those are sound effects. Cinematic Trailer sound effects. Cinematic Tension sound effects, so all the tension sounds that you may hear on horror movies and stuff, that's in there. Cinematic Essentials, more stuff. So a lot of sound effects are in there. We're going to be putting a lot of programs and stuff in there for everyone to use. And that's for us. So let me know if you have any questions. So again, I am no longer the acting team leader. I'm more like I'm full time doing the producer stuff. So and that means I'm everywhere. But let me know if you have questions, and if anyone wants to step up to being team leader for editing team. I mean, it really just involves getting the whole team engaged, doing stuff, and making sure everyone's organized and following an established protocol so that we're not making amateur mistakes on stuff. It involves things like that, but nobody really needs to be a team leader right now. We kind of, everyone's, Patrick's doing a really good job of just, he said, hey, here's what I want to work on. I want to do the teasers for this, and he started doing it. So good job there. Everyone else, if you don't know what you should be doing, I guess what we can do is I can make a pinned post that will have all the projects going right now and things that need to be done right now, so that you can say, hey, I want to work on this, and you can start working on it. So I'll create a pinned post. There should already be one. Let me see here. No, there's not. Well, for now, I'm going to pin the one that we did have up. Here it is. I think this is it. So this is talking just about Good Friends. I'm going to pin this and see if there's a way that I can improve it. So it kind of gives an overview of all the projects. And you guys can let me know, or let TFN or
You
one
have
of the
100% of backup left.
or one of the producers know, and we can do that. Okay, so I hope this video wasn't too long, but more stuff to come. There may be a general meeting for TFN next weekend. I will let you know ASAP. I'm actually in talks with folks about that right now, and that involves editors, involves everyone who can make it. And that's all I can remember off the top of my head. Yeah, but you're going to see it pop up in the events channel. So if we do have anything that involves editors, editors are always welcome to everything. Everyone always wonders, well, who edits the stuff? They kind of want to see the faces, and it's good for everyone to get to know each other. So if you see anything in the events channel, you can kind of come to it. Just make sure you read the details to kind of know what the event, entails. And, if we have the one that is a general meeting, not just an acting team or a practice shoot, which you guys are invited to those too, it's going to come up in here as well. So you'll be able to see it. And you can also ask me if there's anything, but don't only ask me whenever you want to know if stuff is going on. That way, I don't get back to people very quickly, as some of you already know. I don't get back to people because, number one, there's like a whole bunch of people in TFN, and number two, I am extremely busy and I'm working a full-time job. And so it's kind of hard for me to get to everyone, but I do try to go in the order that I receive stuff, but it takes a while. And number three, you don't need to. You can just go and see stuff on the calendar and just confirm with me if you want to. But if we do have a meeting, it will be in front of the next acting team thing. So the next acting team meeting is March 7th. It's next weekend. So March 7th, next Saturday, there's an acting team meeting starting at 3:00. What I think we're doing is we're going to have a general TFN meeting at 2:00. So from 2 to 3 is for everyone, right? And then from 3 on, it's specifically for the actors, and then the camera folks show up to film the stuff. So it'll show up. Right now, it's not official, but it's probably going to be official either tonight or tomorrow night. Because I'm going to be there for that to give updates and stuff like that. So thanks to everyone. If you made it to the end of this video, sorry if it was painfully long, and sorry for taking a long time to get back to you, Patrick. But as I was indicating, I'm always busy. That's the only reason I haven't forgotten about you or anyone else. It's just, there's not enough time in the day to do all the things that we're doing. but we do the best we can. Good job. Those are the suggestions that I have. I'm going to copy and paste the notes. Let me know if you have any questions. And every other editor, you don't have to message me directly. You can put it in the team channel so that everyone can see it and kind of be on the same page with what's being figured out and stuff. But Matt, you can if you want to. It's just easier for me if everyone does it in the channel. Let me know if you have any questions, and that's pretty much it, I think. Let me just double check. Let me see if we have any other notes. Make sure. Yeah, make sure everyone has Resilio Sync, get Adobe Premiere Pro, make sure you have Gmail, external hard drive. If you don't have an external hard drive, it's not required, but you really should have an external hard drive to keep the footage on. Because one thing that we don't really need, nobody needs to be saying like, what do I do because I don't have enough room to edit the footage that I need to edit. Well, you got to have room to edit the footage you need to edit because that's the editor's job. So make sure you have an external hard drive. And the other benefit of having an external hard drive, I know some of you are saying, well, I got a lot of room on my computer. Well, if we have in-person meetings, it's easy to move the hard drive and just bring that with you to the meeting, and you could hook it up to the projector. There's usually people, we bring our laptops. It's just easier, to do that. Or if you have enough space on your laptop or something that's mobile, then that's great. But we usually recommend get an external hard drive. A couple terabytes is like $50, $60 or something like that, something really small. And, keep all your files on there, including your Resilio Sync. And, that's what we recommend. But don't say you don't have enough room, because that's just not, that's something you got to get together. That's like a camera person saying, I don't have a camera, so what am I supposed to do? Get a camera. That's your job. Nobody's getting paid. Nobody's being provided free stuff, so you got to get it. Other than that, good job, folks. And I love to hear from you guys. And have a great rest of your week. See ya.